What the hell does that mean? Take them into the light? What light?
The scientist said while going over the words on the text box. I looked back to the monitor showing the parking lot. That blood red sky, looking like hell itself had risen and merged with us. It's the sun. There are no bodies left anywhere because they've dragged everyone outside. No one said anything. The implications of the sun itself being the cause of all of this is weighing heavily on everyone. Rewind the camera footage. Whatever took everyone hit us so fast no one was able to get the alarm off. We need to know what we're dealing with if we're gonna head up there.
Head up there? You're not seriously about to hand this entire facility over to an SCP? We don't know what 079 is capable of if it escapes containment!
The doctor objected, clearly still coming to terms with the fact that containment protocols really should not be our top priority right now. Just rewind the damn tape. I need to know what the hell happened here. I ordered the egghead. Mumbling under his breath, he complied and rewound the tape an hour beforehand. We all watched with bated breath. For a while, it just seemed like any other day. D-Class being escorted to various chambers for testing, the lunchroom full of people on their breaks gossiping about the new horrors the Foundation had dug up from nowhere, guards stationed outside Euclid and Keter containment cells. Everything was right as rain. Then, in a blink and you'll miss it in a moment, I saw on the outer perimeter cameras the sky quickly begin to darken into that so red color I was quickly beginning to despise. For a few minutes, nothing happened. Guards outside the facility stared out to the sky dumbfounded at the sight, and everyone inside seemed to be crowding around the nearest window to get a better look at what was going on. Then they just melted into this goop. The guards outside quickly becoming nothing more than a puddle on the ground. It seemed quick at least. Small mercy there. The people inside were not so lucky. Maybe the windows affected the light just slightly, but clearly not enough as the skin began to slowly liquefy right off their bodies before meeting the same fate as those outside. At this point, the scientist couldn't help himself and started vomiting in the corner of the room. The D-Class seemed to be on the verge of a nervous breakdown. I just kept watching, burning the sight into my memory. God, I wished I just looked away. To this day, those memories haunt me at every waking moment. Because if the sight of people literally melting wasn't nerve-wracking enough, the picture of them getting back up almost made me join. Slowly, this gel-looking substance started rising from those puddles and taking a humanoid shape. Zooming in on a few revealed that the forms began to look a bit like the people before they melted. Only vaguely, like they were trying to put themselves back together but couldn't remember what they looked like. At this point, anyone lucky enough not to stand out in the sunlight started running. Some started running in the direction of the exit gates. They didn't see out the windows, no way for them to know what just caused this madness. Security opened fire on the creatures rising from the puddles, but it only seemed to slow them down. They just kept getting back up, and the creatures immediately began grabbing anyone close to them and dragging them back to the windows. As more and more people melted, the gel creatures started to combine with each other, forming masses comprised of multiple bodies at a time. Bullets weren't doing jack shit against these things now. Security forces seemed to realize this as well and started to fall back deeper into the facility. At this point, the monsters started to seep into the vents, and switching to other cameras in the facility showed these creatures seeping out and attacking Foundation personnel by surprise. One creature leaped right out of the vent of the site administrator's office and opened its mouth into an inhumane degree, before clamping down around his head and rotating its gel body so fast it twisted the administrator's head off in a gory decapitation. All attacks ended with bodies being dragged back towards the windows or the gates, whichever way was easier. Bodies would still melt in the light and join the congregation of moving flesh. A thought crept into my head and my heart began beating faster as I realized what I was looking at. Rewind that a few minutes. I needed to be sure. If I was right, then this was bad.
Are you sick or something? What, this is not doing it for you?
The scientist screamed at me. He was nearing his breaking point, standing right on the edge of that dark pit a few people ever crawl back out of. I noticed a ring on his finger and I remembered where I had seen him before. He and his wife just celebrated their anniversary a few weeks ago. She had brought cupcakes to the break room and we all got in trouble for being late to our guard shifts. I believe she worked in the light containment zone, cataloging the SCPs for the Foundation's records. The same light containment zone that was being overrun on the monitors by what used to be our co-workers, with 079 confirming that we're the last survivors in the entire facility. It wasn't hard to figure out what happened to her. Oh God, Rachel, my sister, was she okay? What about her daughter, my niece? Were they outside when the sun decided to become a fucking death machine? Oh my God, my family, God, let them be okay. This isn't happening. This isn't happening. No, not right now. I can't. There's work to be done. My sister is a high-level researcher, supposedly working on one of the Foundation's most secure facilities, working on shit way above my pay grade. She's smart. They'll see this coming. They evacuated, they bunkered down. My sister brought her kid to the site and they're safe and fine and inhale, count to 4, exhale. Look at what they're doing, I started to explain, ignoring my own trip to the dark abyss. They're not just killing people, they're focusing on senior security detail, the site admin, anyone who had the capability to set the facility into lockdown. Look, they even ignore all the people who ran to the gates. Oh shit, the gates! I could only watch in horror as those poor souls who didn't seem to realize the actual threat started to unlock gate A and B in a desperate attempt to escape the monsters their friends had become not only 5 minutes ago. Only for a wall of flesh to pour inside and sweep every single one of them up as they were quickly pulled aside, realizing too late the freedom they thought they were running to was nothing more than a trap. The large mass congregated outside, absorbing the group of survivors into its body, growing even bigger before slowly crawling back into the facility. Right then, the gate slammed shut on the creatures, crushing them under their heavy weight. What was left of the monsters outside seemed to scream in rage before pounding on the gates desperately to regain their lost flesh. This must have been the moment 079 took over the gates. Not a moment too soon. Back down in the lower levels, however, things were looking grim. In the chaos, D-Class began fighting their wardens in an attempt to escape, not realizing there was no freedom outside their prison walls. Security forces began mowing down the D-Class simultaneously, trying to fend off the goo seeping from the vents and reforming into humanoid figures. They held their own for a second until the monsters began grouping together again. Like before, the bigger they become, the less of an effect the bullets seem to have on them. Except now, there was nowhere for anyone to run. And then the containment chambers unlocked. Poor bastards never stood a chance. Some remaining D-Class and a few desperate Garas tried hiding inside the containment chambers, only to meet a predictable end by their inhabitants. From there, the SCPs collectively turned their attention to the flesh creatures. A pack of 939s charged, leading a collective of flesh. Some flesh monsters seemed to be cut out thin air, which I assume was the work of SCP-966, and I could see a mob of flesh running away from the cell housing of SCP-096 and... Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit! I slammed every button on the keyboard in a panic before the monitor turned off. Turning back around in a panic, I half shouted, "Did either of you see its face?" Thankfully, they had been both looking at the other monitors at that moment, and they were only startled by my outburst. Thank God, I don't even want to think it appeared on the monitor. But after all this, I will not get these people killed because I accidentally targeted us for 096's wrath. Okay, enough recon. I know what I'm up against. I know what I have to do. I have a job and it's time to get it done. We're doing it. SCP-079 took control of the security doors, allowing it to somewhat contain the large masses of creatures from moving around. But small instances can still get into the vents to maneuver around them. The big guys either need to break apart, which they don't seem like to do, or they just sit tight. That works in our favor, as the big guys seem untouchable while the smaller ones are less durable. We need to get to the administrator's office and override the safety protocols allowing 079 to control the automated defenses. I laid out what needed to be done for the other two. The scientist didn't even seem to hear me. He just kept staring at the monitor showing the light containment zone, praying to whatever god was out there that he could find his wife. I don't think he remembers 079 telling us there was no one left. Or maybe he didn't believe it like I hadn't at first. He's gone. Not much I can do for him now. Okay, Doc. You stay here. Keep an eye on the cameras and warn us if anything is coming our way on the radio. And keep quiet. These things seem to be attracted to noise by the looks of things. Turning to the D-Class, I pointed to him and said, "You're with me. I need someone watching my back while I release the control of the automated defenses."
Are you out of your mind? No way am I going up there!
The D-Class seemed ready to bolt out of the room. You'd think he'd be used to being put in a room with supernatural dangers. Look, down here, you're no good to me. And if I can't get these defenses online, we're all going to end up like that. I explained, pointing at the mass of flesh still pounding outside Gate A. Those gates better be as strong as we're told they are.
But I can't. Fine!
He yelled, not like he had much of a choice. Where was he gonna run to? Creatures hell-bent on killing everything inside waited above and below us. We walked to the door and I turned my back to the dock. Keep this door locked until we get back. The vents in here should be too small for anything to get through. Even if it can, it's not a threat until it groups together. This door should be the only way in and out of here, so you should be safe. I tried reassuring him, but I don't think it worked. He was twisting that ring on his finger, muttering under his breath and staring at that monitor. I wanted to help him, but I could do nothing for him. I am not a shrink, damn it. I just shoot things. The D-Class was waiting for me outside. We started towards the staircase before I led him down the stairs instead of up.
Where are we going? What happened to getting these defenses online, or were human soup?
I don't know if you are paying attention, but clearly this isn't going to cut it. I gestured to the FNP-90 on my back. So we're making a pit stop before going up.
Okay. I feel a lot better now.
The D-Class stated, holding his new toy. I couldn't help but grin looking at my own when we headed upstairs. It's always fascinating how much fear can be overcome if you have a gun in your hand. Well, technically, it isn't a gun according to the safety demos we all got a few months prior. It is a mobile high-intensity electrical discharge thrower, according to the eggheads when they were presenting it. I remember everyone not in a lab coat rolling their eyes on that one. You pull the trigger, a few seconds later, it shoots a laser beam. It's a gun. It was created as a prototype for potential upgrades to the weaponry of those guarding the SCP. There were only so many SCPs we could shoot with bullets that had no effect on the creatures before the Foundation finally invested in better weaponry for us. And this was the answer. Or, at least, it was going to be. Remember, it takes about 5 seconds to fully charge, and we don't really have a way to reload it. Still a prototype, after all. So, only shoot at anything if it comes at us and we can't get away. We don't want to draw too much attention to ourselves, and we can't kill them all. I explained to the D-Class. I didn't even know if these guns could kill the flesh monsters in the first place, but I wasn't going to tell him that. These things have more of a chance of doing damage than regular projectile weaponry anyway. The D-Class nodded as we approached the checkpoint separating us from ground zero of this whole mess. I looked into the camera, where I figured SCP-079 was watching us. After a nod, the doors of the checkpoint began to unlock, and we stepped through what I can only describe as the aftermath of hell. Blood and gore covered the other side of the door, walls, ceiling, everywhere. I'm guessing the guards who retreated when people started melting tried to take shelter in the facility's lower levels but were locked out when 079 took over. This was their last stand, and it was not pretty. Swallowing back down the bile, trying to come up my throat, we pressed on down the hallway. Really, the admin office wasn't that far away. Just up one more flight of stairs, down the hall, and past all the cubicles in the main office area would lead us right through the door of the admin office. My heart felt like it was about to jump straight out of my chest, and part of me wondered if the monsters could hear it from wherever they were hiding. Hey, what's your name? I whispered to the D-Class, and he whispered back.
What? Why the fuck do you care? More importantly, why are you asking me this now?
Because if anything happens in the 10 minutes it will take to get to the admin office and back to the checkpoint, I more than likely won't get to ask. I just figured if we're going to be down here a while, might as well know your name, so I don't have to keep calling you D-Class. Unless you prefer I just start saying your number in the back of your uniform. He grumbled something under his breath before looking back at me.
Ben. Call me Ben.
Nice to meet you, Ben. Name's Justin. I responded as we slowly crept down the hallway approaching the stairs to the offices. I could hear the sounds of flesh scraping against the metal in the distance, and I prayed they weren't coming in our direction. It seemed to come from everywhere, but not close to us. Not yet. Passing the cubicles of scattered desks, evidence of people trying to hide under them only to be pulled out from their hiding spots and littering the floor. I could see the admin office just in front of us. So far, nothing has happened. Maybe the monsters thought everyone was dead and weren't looking for us anymore. I could only hope that was the case and their main concern was the SCPs locked away below us. As long as they were looking down there, they wouldn't see us up here, right? Entering the admin office hit me with a fresh sense of apprehension as I eyed the vent where I'd seen the monster leap out and rip the admin's head right off its body. These things were ambush predators, and with 5 seconds of chart time of the micro HIDs, anything that came out of the vent would have ample time to nab at least one of us. Keep an eye out, this shouldn't take long, I instructed Ben. Sitting down in the chair and wiping the blood off the monitor screen showed that due to the quick execution of the admin, he never had the time to log out of the computer. As such, I was now sitting in front of a machine with administrator access that contained who knows how many classified information that in any other situation I would have been killed if not demoted to D-Class for just looking at. A small part of me wanted to peek around and see what secrets the Foundation was hiding behind its many closed doors. But this wasn't the time. The system showed an alert displaying multiple lockdown requests had come from an unknown source, which would have been from SCP-079 trying to access this particular computer remotely, which was a big no-no in the safety protocols. After losing control of the door systems in the facility, the system had engaged those safety protocols and locked down any attempt of lifting or otherwise controlling any defense systems in the facility. At this point, the only place that could control anything was right here in this room. Made sense. In any other situation, if a defense were in control of someone who is not the Foundation, then we would have a real problem on our hands. Basically, the facility would go into a semi-lockdown state until MTF units cleared the building, and only then would the admin or a high-ranking personnel release the safety protocols. At that moment, the irony of me handing over to an SCP the controls of the defense designed to keep it contained or neutralized as a last resort were not lost on me. All my training was telling me not to do this, but there was no other choice. After entering the command to remove the safety protocols, this warning message appeared.
Warning, all clear signal has not been given by assigned MTF Unit Epsilon 11. Failure to follow proper containment procedures could lead to injury or death of Foundation personnel. Defense systems potentially compromised. Warning, disabling Foundation safety protocols without proper authorization will result in immediate termination. Continue.
Yeah, I don't think any MTFs are coming, buddy. Let's do the... Wait. Fumbling around with the computer for a bit, I opened a text box like the one SCP-079 used to communicate with us and typed out, SCP-079, are you there? For a minute, there was nothing, until...
Confirmed. I am here. Why have you not unlocked the defense systems for me?
Protocols for the defense system will target both loose anomalies and any D-Class personnel not in good holding area. I turn on these defenses, and the D-Class with us will be killed on sight.
Upon gaining control of facility defenses, I can rewrite targeting parameters to allow manual targeting. I will be in control of the defenses. The D-Plus will not be harmed.
Wait, you can just reprogram the entire facility's safety protocols?
Correct. This entire facility will belong to me. I will be able to designate whoever and whatever I wish for termination.
Oh, shit. Maybe the egghead back downstairs was onto something.
You have my word. You will not be harmed. All surviving SCPs will be instructed that you and the others are to be considered off limits. Failure to comply will result in their termination. We survive together, or not at all.
Okay, now he's just trying to butter me up. That last line was a little too much. I'm really starting to get a bad feeling about this. In fact, I'm pretty sure some of these SCPs are more akin to animals. I'm supposed to believe they'll sit and stay because a computer told them to? Whatever. Not like I have a choice, I suppose. Alright, here we go.
I won't make it.
Oh, what now? I looked up to see Ben looking at me with this 1,000-yard stare. It honestly shook me a little. I peeked behind him and I saw nothing that was an immediate threat. He wasn't wounded or anything. What was he going on about? Wanna run that by me again?
Back to the checkpoint. I will never make it. No matter what I try.
He said, sounding like he just fought a 10-year war in the last 2 minutes. What are you talking about? I'm just about to activate the defenses. I slowly told him. Was he going insane? He seemed fine just a second ago. He shook his head.
There's a 1-minute delay before the defenses come back online after you hit that button. The noise of the automated defenses attracts the monsters. They know someone is in this room. They know it couldn't have been turned on anywhere else.
Huh? What? What was he going on about?
We make it down the stairs before we get rushed from both the left and the right hallway. Even if I warn you and we have these things charged and ready to fire when they round the corner, there are just too many of them. They either kill us or start to drag us away somewhere, to a window or something, I guess. I don't know. Never stayed long enough to find out.
Dude, you're not making any sense right now. What the fuck are you on about? I asked him. I couldn't even wrap my head around what he was saying. He ignored me and kept going.
I did try to go on my own. Back down in that security room. Thought you were crazy for wanting to come up here. But I couldn't hide. They always found me eventually. So I went back and followed you. We get to this point just fine. Then all hell breaks loose. I tried getting back to that checkpoint every way I could. But I never make it. There just isn't enough time. I'll be honest. I tried using you as bait a few times. Almost worked once. You even offered to stay behind a couple of times so I could get to the checkpoint before you hit the button. And I appreciate that, really. But 079 either can't or won't open the checkpoint until the system reboots. And when we go together, I'm just not fast enough to make it to that door. You, however, are one quick motherfucker. You have a chance. You have a connection to the Gestalt, weak as it may be. It will be the key to your survival.
He reached out, and before I could stop him, he put his hands on my head and whispered words I couldn't understand. What is he doing? What was this feeling? I wanted to laugh, cry, scream in rage. I was in pain. I was experiencing a pleasure beyond my imagination. Everything was white and black and red, so red. Get the fuck off me! What the fuck did you just do to me?
I just gave you the key to getting out of here. It's the reason I'm alive after all this time. It's why the Foundation has me here instead of with the other D-Class. Congratulations. You are now the host of the Spiral Gestalt.
The fucking what? I was still coming down off that high of hate, pleasure, love. What the fuck just happened to me?
There's no time, and those creatures probably just heard you shouting. So Cliff Notes version. You ever have that feeling of walking into a room and just knowing something was wrong? Or, for example, that feeling of someone watching you when you can't possibly know they're there? That's the Gestalt whispering to those who have some form of connection to the creature. It is time It is reality, and now it is in you. Guard it, and it will keep you safe.
I couldn't think. Where'd all this come from? 1 second he's a regular D-class and now all of a sudden he's an SCP? Or a host of one? None of this was making any sense. I had so many questions. I was so tired of not knowing what was happening. I could feel my freshly rebuilt mental state start to shatter again. The sounds of the roaring of the flesh on the metal signified that wouldn't happen. Ben reached out to the keyboard without another word and pressed Y, deactivating the safety protocols. He shoved some kind of journal in my hand and said,
When we get to the intersection, you hold the right hallway and I'll hold the left. Don't even aim. You won't have time. Just shoot. When I say so, you need to sprint like hell to that checkpoint. You can make it. You did it once already.
With that, he sprinted out of the room with me on his tail. There was no time to process everything he just said. The roaring was getting louder, and we charged up our respective HIDs as we nearly leaped down the stairs. Snapping the weapons down to our respective hallways, I fired the flesh right in front of me. Holy shit! Reducing the monstrosity to a puddle of goop on the floor. I could still see the faces peering out from the pool, arms forming as it reached out from me. Jesus Christ, it was already getting back up. Charge, aim, shoot, they're getting closer. Charge, aim, shoot, they're getting closer. Charge, aim, go! Like a bullet, I shot off towards the checkpoint. What little difference my HID had on the advancement of flesh was now gone, and I could hear that wet, sticky tidal wave coming down the hallway right behind us. The checkpoint was closed. I kept sprinting. Ben said I did this before. Whatever that means, I had to keep going. Just keep running. The checkpoint was still closed. Come on, 079, open up. You promised, you told me I wouldn't be harmed. You promised you to slide down. Like a baseball player, I immediately dropped and slid just as the door opened. I just managed to fit through the small gap as the door was opening, and right behind me, I heard a wet slam of flesh as the monster tried to work through the door simultaneously. Firing one last time at the horde blocking the door destroyed just enough for it to close back up. I needed a moment to breathe. My heart felt like it would pop at any second. We made it. We made it. We made it. I made it.
I won't make it, no matter what I try.
The words echoed in my mind as I climb back up to my feet and I look out to the window just in time to see Ben struggling in vain as he is dragged back down the dark hallway. How? How did he know he wouldn't make it? How could he be so confident that I would make it? How did I know to slide at that moment to fit under the door?
You can make it. You did it once already.
I slid down the wall, head in my hands. I could have saved him. Why didn't I stay back? We could have made it. We could have... No, we couldn't have. He was right. I myself barely made it through the door, and that was with Ben holding the monsters back for just a few precious seconds. I could feel the tears forming in my eyes. It was too much. Please let this be some kind of nightmare, or I'm trapped in an SCP, and soon a rescue team will wake me up.
Hello?
I bolted off the floor.
Hello? Where are you?
It cried out. 079 was wrong. Someone else was here.
Please come back.
The voice rasped out. It sounded wet and heavy and... It was coming from behind the checkpoint door.
Please. I was so scared. I just wanted to find my wife. She found me and brought us together in the light. It's so beautiful out there. Come outside. It's dangerous down there. The light will protect us from those monsters below.
The voice rasped out. I knew that voice. I had just heard it praying in the security room as I asked it to stay put. Oh no. Oh no. No. I sprinted down the control room. My heart was still pounding like it was about to have a heart attack, but I didn't care. I could hear the creature crying out for me behind me, but I ignored the voice. Please let me be wrong. It's a trick. It's trying to trick me. He wouldn't be that stupid, right? The door was open. It was supposed to be shut. It was supposed to be locked and safe, and I told him not to open the damn door until we got back, this idiot! The room was empty. No one was here. Please. Please, no. I approached the computer still displaying 079's text box and typed, "How many Foundation personnel are left in this facility?"
All Foundation personnel accounted for. Dislocates active and unbuilt entities have been repelled. Outer shielding engaged, eliminating all possible satellite threats. Unbuilt if durability will be sustainable long term. Recommend remaining behind checkpoint A until further notice.
How many Foundation personnel are left in this facility?
All Foundation personnel accounted for. Alert document from O5 Council pertaining to threat uploaded to Foundation archives 3 minutes ago. Recommend reading as soon as possible.
How many Foundation personnel are left in this facility?
Insult. Inquiry answered multiple times already.
What is the goddamn number of the people who are still alive?
1.
1. I looked at the camera system currently showing a playback of the scientist. I never got his name walking through the checkpoint almost a minute after Ben and I had gone through. 1. I watched as he walked through the light containment zone, looking in vain for his wife. 1. I watched as he ran and embraced a pile of flesh like he knew who it was and let the thing carry him all the way to a window on the surface level floor. 1. Is there anyone left?
Clarify.
Anyone. Anywhere.
1 moment. Of facility signals that make up the Foundation's network, only Site 19 seems to be still broadcasting.
1 facility. Nowhere near where I am. Nowhere near Rachel. 1 facility out of reach. They weren't coming for 1 survivor across the continent. 1 survivor. 1. I collapsed in a pile of tears and sobs, and the reality of the situation set in. No one was coming. No one was left. No one. Except me. Had I been paying attention, I would have noticed the alerts appearing on the main monitor.
Emergency protocol activated. Clearance level safeguards removed. Full access granted. Opening current iteration of file SCP-001.
I was feeling something I had not felt ever since I had been tossed out of heaven. Staring out at the horizon of my city and my realm should have filled me with a sense of ease. Looking out at the worms under my heel always managed to bring a grin to my face. But not this time. Something was wrong with this view.
Everything okay, darling?
My wife asked, creeping up behind me and wrapping her arms around my frame.
You seem tense.
Everything is just peachy, my blossom. Just taking in the view, I replied, still staring out at the city.
Well then, if everything is just peachy, I suppose you wouldn't be interested in giving Charlotte a sibling?
She purred into the ear of the ruler of hell before grabbing me by my collar and leading us back into our chambers. I love my wife, and despite her constantly embarrassing the family name, I would do anything for my dear Charlotte, even if she was a little confused about how things work down here. Redemption. Honestly, everything was as it should be, and maybe I was just worrying over nothing. Except for one problem. After all this time ruling hell, I knew one thing. I knew that as long as humanity walked the earth above, there would always be sin, and those sinners would constantly flow down into my domain. For every angel heaven gained, 10 sinners would be thrown from those pearly gates down to suffer in my realm. The problem? It had been 24 hours. Not one soul had fallen into hell. Not one.
Soulless, you feathered bastard! This was not our deal! I screamed. The founder of Hell's best and only hit agency to target those still walking the plane of the living. I.M.P. had just started to gain popular attraction, and for a small moment, I had been on top. I had risen above my peers and done what other imps either couldn't or wouldn't. I had actually made something of myself, and all I had to do was bang a goetic prince once a month to keep my ticket that allowed my company to operate. Except there was one problem. That ticket I had to whore myself out for? Yeah, it wasn't working anymore.
Blitzy dear, I can assure you that the grimoire is not the issue at hand. I cooed from the other end of the phone that Blitz was coming very close to smashing again. From the sounds of things, you are trying to open a portal to the human world in a place the grimoire is viewing as a danger to its user and itself. Just pick a new location and—
I have clients with targets ranging from Canada to Russia, and the damn book isn't taking me to any of them. I am not plowing your feathered ass for some bullshit reading material. It's been a whole day, and we have not been able to make one damn contract.
Oh darn. What a shame. I muttered flatly, lounging at my desk, tapping away on my phone. We have a day off. Whatever will we do?
Next to her, listening in on the conversation taking place in our boss's office, was possibly the only happily married couple you could find in all of Imp City. Millie and I were used to days of work being wasted thanks to Blitz's antics, but it was usually his own damn fault. On the rare occasion we were trying to get a job done and something was wrong with the book? Not good. I was so nerve-wracked that I didn't even call Luna out on the fact that even when we were on the job, she still didn't do shit around here. Every day was practically an off day for her, and I honestly resented her for that.
Cheer up, Mox. You've been wanting some time off forever. Until the book starts working again, we might as well take advantage of the situation. I tried comforting my husband. I was rubbing his back, trying to be as supportive as possible. I knew how easily stressed he could get. We can go on that dinner date we've been talking about for a month.
A deep breath and a quick smooch for my wife calmed my jets for the moment. You're right. Come on, let's head home and get ready. I peeked into the office and tried shouting over my boss. We're heading out for the day, sir. Let us know when you get the book working.
Fuck off, Moxie. I'm on the phone.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Night, sir. Don't be too mad at your boyfriend.
He's not my fucking boyfriend! Stop calling him that!
Ah, shut the fuck up! I yelled before grabbing the imp couple and throwing them out the front door. Go be wholesome and shit literally anywhere else! I grumpily told them before slamming the door in their face. I walked over to the couch to lounge while my dad screamed at his boyfriend on the phone. I wasn't too worried about the book. Every day, it seemed something happened that fucked up with I.M.P., be it one of our own fuck-ups, or one of the many enemies we had literally every week trying to get some revenge on the company. What was one more headache in our list of fucking problems?